Shalom, brothers and sisters, and once again, this is Shabar, Judah Israel, bringing you another lesson concerning Solid Foundation International Ministries and also Solid Foundation Israelite Academies. Okay, we're going to bring you another lesson on today, brothers and sisters, and the lesson is going to be on the behalf of the Feast of Dedication, which is coming up, brothers and sisters. Some Israelites, brothers and sisters, have already celebrated this feast day, this feast event, but we have not celebrated ours, but we're on the verge of it. And let me pull this up while I'm at it. Right here, brothers and sisters, as you can see, it says Hanukkah 2006. Let me blow it up. Hanukkah 2016 will start the evening of Saturday, December 24th, and will end the evening of Sunday, January 1st, 2017. So Hanukkah will be carried out 8 days, and starting Saturday, December 24th, and ending Sunday, January 1st, 2017. That's Hanukkah. Now, brothers and sisters, we don't celebrate Christmas because that's not of the Bible. That's not what the Most High prescribes, and that is the way of the heathen. That's the pagan custom. So we don't celebrate Christmas. It has nothing to do with the Most High and His Son. Okay, so we keep the Feast of Dedication, brothers and sisters. This is St. John chapter 10, verse 22. It speaks on the behalf of the Messiah, the Son of God, Yahweh, who the world knows as Jesus Christ. Okay, St. John 10 and 22. And it was at Jerusalem. Let me blow it up. It says, and it was at Jerusalem, the Feast of Dedication, and it was winter. So the Feast of Dedication, brothers and sisters, falls around the winter time. Okay, the Feast of Dedication, it falls around the winter time. It says, and it was the Feast of Dedication, it was winter. St. John 10 and 23. And Yahweh, who the world knows as Jesus Christ, walked into the temple in Solomon's porch. So this is what the Son of God, the Messiah, celebrated. He celebrated and he kept the Feast of Dedication. He did not keep Christmas, because once again, Christmas is a pagan custom. And the Bible tells us to learn not the way of the heathen. Yeah, Christmas is a pagan custom. We keep the Feast of Dedication. We don't keep Christmas. I'll give you a verse in the Bible that actually goes against Christmas, so you can see that it's scripture and it's biblical, that the Bible testifies and it speaks out against Christmas. This is Jeremiah, I believe, chapter 10. Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word of the Most High, Yahweh, the Lord, was speaking unto you, O house of Israel. So he's talking to the house of Israel, the 12 tribes, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans today. You are the descendants of the Israelites. You are the people, the chosen people. Okay, according to Bible prophecy. Jeremiah 10 and 2. Thus said Yahweh the Lord. He says, do not learn the way of the heathens. Okay, the heathens are not people that are Israelites, like so-called white folks, Africans, Arabs, Chinese, Japanese, East Indians, and etc. People that are not basically of Negro and Indian ancestry. They are heathens. The Bible tells us to learn not their ways and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at the signs of the heavens. Jeremiah 10 and 3. Now it talks about the modern day Christmas tree that brothers and sisters love to set up in their homes, even in the churches. Okay, it speaks out and testifies against the Christmas tree. So Jeremiah chapter 10 and 3 on down, it rebukes the Christmas tree. It says, for the customs of the people are in vain. What people? The heathen are in vain, meaning lies. For one cutteth the tree out the forest. So one goes into the forest and cut down a tree. The work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They use an axe, a hatchet, to slice down the tree, cut it down. And they do what? Jeremiah 10 and 4 speaks on that they deck it with silver and gold. Because you don't adorn any other tree that you can name. You don't do that. The only tree that you adorn and decorate is the modern day evergreen tree, which a lot of you brothers and sisters do that. But however, Jeremiah chapter 10 rebukes that. Say they deck it with silver and gold. They fasten it with nails and hammers that it move not. So they do just that. They set the tree up in a certain position and they fasten it with nails and hammers that it move not, that it don't tilt over. Okay, and I can assure you a lot of brothers and sisters are keeping this covenant today, and the Bible testifies and speak against it. So if I was you, I'll repent before you be destroyed. I'll repent to the Most High and ask for forgiveness. Instead of keeping Christmas, I'll find the Feast of Dedication and keep that if I was you, brothers and sisters. Okay, because all you're doing is provoking the Lord to anger by celebrating these pagan holidays. Jeremiah 10 and 5, they are upright as the palm tree. You're back then because they used the palm date. This is during the Babylonian captivity. Jeremiah was speaking on the behalf of the children of Israel following the Babylonians. Now the children of Israel was in Babylonian captivity 70 years. So the book of Jeremiah speaks on the children of Israel being in the Babylonian captivity. And what were they doing? They started to pick up the ways and the customs of the Babylonians. And back then, the Babylonians, before it was the modern day evergreen tree, the Babylonians decked down the palm tree with silver and gold. And then they passed their customs to the Romans. The Romans took in the fir tree, and the Romans passed their customs to America, which is the revived Roman Empire. And now they decorate the evergreen tree, man. It says, but they speak not, because a Christmas tree doesn't have capability to speak and utter. Okay, it's deprived of speech. It can't speak, man. It's just a tree. They say they must needs be born, meaning that they cannot walk. Okay, because you have to carry them into your house. It says because they cannot go. They don't have any legs to transport themselves. It says be not afraid of them. Why was the Israelites afraid of these trees back in the time of Jeremiah? Because there was a saying that went out. The queen of Babylon, Semiramis, known as Ashtoreth, known as the moon goddess, the queen of heaven, also known as Diana in Ephesus, she started a lie in ancient Babylon saying that Nimrod, okay, which was her husband, also her son, because she married her own son, said that after he died, his spirit basically resided in the evergreen tree, you know. And if you didn't show homage or you didn't worship the tree would fall upon you and kill you, okay. And then basically that's why Israelites were scared of those trees. But it says, be not afraid of them, for they can do no evil, neither also is it in them to do good. So I mean, Jeremiah chapter 10 rebukes Christmas and speak out against Christmas. It speaks against the Christmas tree that you brothers and sisters have in your churches and have in your homes and so forth. But I recommend you to get rid of Christmas and pick up the Feast of Dedication. Okay, because that's what we're supposed to be celebrating right here, the Feast of Dedication. Okay, this is what we're supposed to be, okay, having a social gathering, and that's what we're supposed to be doing, man. Okay, Hanukkah, some call it the Feast of Lights. Some call it Hanukkah, I believe they call Hanukkah the Feast of Lights and Feast of Dedication. However you want to call it. Hanukkah, if you will, Feast of Dedication or Feast of Lights. It starts Saturday, December 24th, and then Sunday, it ends Sunday, January 1st, 2017. So what is it all about? What Hanukkah is all about? I'm going to read this short article right here. What is the Feast of Dedication? I'm going to zoom in. It says, what is the feast? What is the Feast of Dedication right here? A lot of people may not be informed about this holy event. What is it? What is it about? The question is, what is the Feast of Dedication? So let's read. The answer: the Feast of Dedication, which was once also called the Feast of Maccabees, was an 8-day winter festival celebrated by the Jews in the month of December, or sometimes late November, depending on when it fell in the lunar solar Jewish calendar. Today, the festival is called Hanukkah, or Festival of Lights, or Feast of Lights. So you can, another word right here for Feast of Dedication, some call it Hanukkah. Now Hanukkah in the Hebrew means dedication. Okay, and some call it the Festival of Lights or the Feast of Lights. Okay, but however, it's not Christmas, because a lot of people will say, well, Hanukkah is just a Jewish Christmas. No, it's not Christmas at all, because Hanukkah is nothing, has nothing to do with the Son of God. Okay, as we're gonna show you, it says the history of the Feast of Dedication goes back to the intertestamental period. Now, when is that? It's between Malachi and what they would call Saint Matthew. Okay, Malachi being the last book in the Old Testament books, the Tanakh. Malachi being the last books. Now, after Malachi, which Malachi was in the Persian Mede captivity, after Malachi, you will have the apocryphal books to come in, and this is called the intertestamental period. Those apocryphal books. It says, so the history of the Feast of Dedication goes back to the intertestamental period and the Maccabean revolts. And after the Seleucid king Antiochus Epiphanes, which was an evil king that persecuted the Jews, okay, Antiochus Epiphanes profaned the Jews' temple and forced the Jews to abandon their sacrifices and adopt pagan rituals. So King Antiochus IV Epiphanes, which was the son of Antiochus III, what he did was he Hellenized the Jews. Basically, they call it the Hellenization period, or some may call it the abomination of desolation, when basically King Antiochus forced all the Jews to adopt to the customs of the Greeks, to assimilate to the Greek customs, to stop keeping their holy days, to stop keeping their feast days and Sabbath days, to stop circumcising their children, okay, to stop doing everything according to the Most High commandments. The King Antiochus Epiphanes, he wrote a decree saying that all people should be as the Greeks, all people should be one. And he said that if he found any Jew, basically even professing himself to be a Jew, or circumcising their kids, or keeping the Sabbath days, or keeping the feast days, or keeping any laws, statutes, and commandments, King Antiochus said if he found one Jew doing that, then they was getting put to death. So this was the Hellenization period where the Jews became Hellenized, and they took upon Greek customs. They took upon Greek state of mind, thus making themselves Gentiles. Okay, so this is what it's all about. Antiochus Epiphanes profaned the Jews' temple and forced the Jews to abandon their sacrifices and adopt pagan rituals. A group of Jews, freedom fighters, rose up, defied the oppressive pagan regime, and overthrew the Seleucids. The temple in Jerusalem was rededicated to God, and ever since then, the Feast of Dedication has been celebrated to commemorate this meaningful event in Jews' history. So basically, right here on the verge of Antiochus, Antiochus was punishing the Jews. You had some freedom fighters right here that rose up. Now it's talking about Mattathias and his 5 sons. Okay, Mattathias and his 5 sons. Out of his sons, Judas Maccabeus is the most well known. Okay, they caused a revolt. Some call it I forgot what else they call it. They call it the Maccabean revolt. But anyways, it says the original Feast of Dedication involved a miracle according to rabbinic tradition. When the Jews re-entered the temple, they could only find one small sealed jug of olive oil that had not been profaned or contaminated by the Seleucids. They used this to light the menorah. Now, menorah is the 7 candle holder. They used it to light the menorah in the temple. It says, and though the oil was only enough to last 1 day, it miraculously lasted 8 days. It says time for more oil to be made ready. This is the reason why Hanukkah lasts for 8 days. Okay, so now you know why Hanukkah is carried out for 8 days, as we showed you right here. Saturday, December 24th to Sunday, January 1st, 2017. Now you know why Hanukkah is carried out for 8 days, brothers and sisters. Okay, why? Because of the Jews. When they went in the temple, they can only find one small jug of olive oil that had not been profaned or contaminated by these Greeks. And they used it. Okay, they used that jug of olive oil to light the menorah in the temple. Okay, in the Jerusalem temple, which they rededicated to the Most High after the Greeks had profaned it. And though the oil was only enough to last one day, basically that oil was one day's worth that was in the olive jug. That was in the olive jug. A miracle happened, and it lasted 8 days. Okay, this is why Hanukkah lasts for 8 days. That's the meaning why Hanukkah lasts for 8 days. Okay, the Bible mentions the Feast of Dedication by the name in the Gospel of John, which we already stated. We already saw that. Then came the festival of the dedication at Jerusalem, and it was winter. And Yahweh, who the world knows as Jesus, was in the temple courts walking in Solomon's colonnade. John chapter 10 verses 22-23. We read that already, okay? It says, this is the scene in which Yahweh, who the world knows as Jesus, claims oneness with the Father, for which the unbelieving Jews tried to apprehend and stone him, in verses 24 and 39. The Feast of Dedication, with its roots in the miracle of the menorah, has always been associated with lights, and is sometimes called a festival of lights. Illuminating houses and synagogues is a tradition that was probably carried over from the Feast of Tabernacles. Okay, the recitation, if I'm saying that right, of Psalms chapter 30 verses 1-12. It is also an important part of the Feast of Dedication because of its themes of God giving victory over enemies and the replacement of mourning and sorrow with hope and joy. Psalms chapter 30 verse 5, verse 11. Hanukkah, or the Feast of Dedication, okay, says it's not one of the festivals instituted by God through Moses, okay, as a part. Let's go down a little bit. Okay, where was we? Hanukkah, or the Feast of Dedication, is not one of the festivals instituted by God through Moses, because it's not really a feast day. Okay, it says as part of the law. That is not to say, however, the festival is unbiblical or unpleasing to God because it's not part of the feast days. That don't mean that it is not significant. For Daniel, to Yahweh, disciples, to Jews persecuted. Well, this right here is false, because Adolf Hitler didn't. The people he was persecuting during the Holocaust wasn't the real Jews. Those were converts that was claiming they was the real Jews, if you know the true history behind that. But like I say, this article may have some bones in it, but I'm just trying to pick out the main things for your edification to let you see what the Feast of Dedication is all about. But anyway, the Feast of Dedication right here is about the darkness of persecution and the light of God that leads his people through the darkness of those figurative nights with a promise of joy in the morning. Psalms 30 verse 5. Most Jews today do not believe in Yahweh, Jesus Christ, as the incarnation of Yahweh. Okay, because some Israelites don't believe in the New Testament. Okay, but it says, however, the Maccabees were followers of Yahweh and Yahweh. The disciples were still Jews, even though they believed that the great I Am had revealed himself in the person of Yahweh. Okay, and then Exodus 3 and 14, John chapter 8 verse 58. Christianity has its roots in Judaism. We don't know what Judaism is, because the Bible doesn't speak on Judaism. Okay, we keep laws, statutes, and commandments. We don't practice Judaism because that's not in the Bible. That was man-made. That's a religion that was man-made. Like I said, you have to be vigilant because the article has bones in it. But anyway, this is just a quick take to show you what the Feast of the importance of the Feast of Dedication. Okay, so yeah, man, the Feast of Dedication. Another reason during the 8 days we know that they rededicated the temple to the Most High. Well, some may say that today, well, the temple is not necessarily the temple is not around today. So while we're rededicating the temple that's been torn down during 70 A.D., well, today your body is the temple. Okay, and you should rededicate your body. You should basically, you have 8 days for prayer and supplication. Okay, to rededicate your temple to the Most High, because we know that the body is the temple of the body is the temple for the spirit. So even though we don't go to an actual temple today concerning the feast of dedication, your body is more like the temple. Okay, I'm gonna show you this. This is let's see, 1 Corinthians 3:16. Do you not know that you are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwells within you? So we are more like the temple today, the Feast of Dedication. And we know the Feast of Dedication, they rededicated the temple that was defiled by the Greeks to the Most High. But now the temple is gone because the general Vespasian and his son Titus, 70 CE, destroyed the temple. So your temple is more like the body today. And it said that the temple is a place for the Spirit of God to dwell in. 1 Corinthians 3:17. If any man defiles the temple of God, him shall God destroy, for the temple of God is holy. Which temple are you? So the temple of the Most High is the body, man. Okay, the temple is the body, which houses the spirit to dwell in. So you're supposed to keep your temple clean. You know, you're supposed to keep your temple basically clean and righteous, so the spirit can dwell therein. So that's more like the temple. So during the Feast of Dedication, you have like 8 days to rededicate your temple if you have done something wrong, transgress, abomination, whatever the situation may be. If you have fell short, then you have time, a period of 8 days for prayer and supplication, and to devote yourself to the Most High and rededicate this temple to the Most High concerning the 8-day Feast of Dedication. But yeah. So I think that's about it, brothers and sisters. So yeah, the Feast of Dedication, like I said, I'm not gonna do a long take on it, but I felt led to do that. So hope you was edified. Share the truth, share the knowledge. We don't celebrate Christmas, brothers and sisters. We don't do that because that's pagan. But however, we do once again keep the Feast of Dedication. However, and once again, before we close out the Feast of Dedication, like I stated previously, 2016 will be held Saturday, December 24th, and it will end on Sunday, January 1st, 2017. Total of 8 days. So I look forward for you brothers and sisters being a part of this wonderful event. It's Holy Convocation. Wonderful event. And yeah, man. Pray, build your spirit up, rededicate your temple to the Most High, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. And like I say, let's just hope we are part of the elect. So when he come back to judge this wicked place, Babylon the Great, that will be the first fruits, will be the 33.3%, the elect of the nation of Israel. We'll be getting up out of here soon, if the Lord is willing. So until next time, we say shalom.